Your breakfast probably were delivered by a Volvo truck so far today. There's a big possibility that was. If we have also automation of deliveries, automation of fleets, automation of the last mile deliveries, our impact will be really bigger and bigger and bigger.
Welcome to the second part of the Tech Leaders Podcast AI series. Following the incredible conversation with the majestic Maggie Philbin, Professor Kerensa Jennings and I are once again thrilled to speak with a true thought leader in the AI space, this time from the automotive industry. Volvo, approaching its 100-year anniversary, is one of the most iconic automotive brands globally, and furthermore, they are at the forefront of the AI and generative AI innovation curve, pushing boundaries and doing remarkable things in this space. Today, we are excited to introduce the analytics and insights leader from Volvo, the brilliant Jair Ribeiro. Growing up in Brazil, Jair moved to Europe, where he worked at major industry players like Hewlett-Packard, IBM, and now, of course, Volvo. As an expert in both traditional and generative AI models, and with a deep understanding of the ethical dimensions of AI adoption, Jair is exceptionally qualified to dive into these critical topics. Beyond his role at Volvo, Jair is a recognized thought leader in the AI innovation space, frequently speaking at major automotive technology events and also sharing his thoughts and expertise through his popular channel on blogging platform medium.com. In this conversation, we dive into a wide range of topics from ethical AI and the diverse application of generative AI in the automotive industry, jobs displacement, and what most organizations get wrong when implementing AI capability, and so much more. This one is a real treat. Kerensa and I really enjoyed this one. So without further ado, here is Jair Ribeiro. Jair Ribeiro, thank you so much for coming on to the Tech Leaders Podcast. Kerensa and I have been so excited about this one. Volvo, a global household name brand, doing some amazing things in the AI space, a highly innovative automotive company that we all know. So we're really excited to talk to you. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for the invitation. Really excited for this conversation. There's a lot of things that I hope we can talk together today.
Yeah, you've had such an incredible career journey so far, so we're so excited to talk to you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So let's start off with a big question then. What excites you most about the widespread adoption of AI technology, Jair?
Yeah, I would say that this is one thing that we are seeing the last years growing and growing so far, and especially with the adoption of now generative AI. What's really excites me is the democratization. We're going to take AI, a super powerful technology, into the hands of millions and billions of people directly, because some people will use AI directly in their task, but some people will benefit from AI embedded even in a transparent way, in a way. Think about, my industry, transportation. If we manage to get the most promised benefits of AI, we're going to take transportation to billions of people in a new way that it's not been done so far. So I'm really excited about how things are going on the AI perspective. We are in the early stage, to be honest. More will come. But the democratization, it's really important. Democratization with responsibility, probably we need to have on this also, because every technology can be used in many ways. We need to be responsible and ethical with AI. So if we manage to do that, that would be a great thing.
And how did you get interested in AI in the first place? Because you're quite a forward thinker, and in fact, you've got your own blog and you are a thought leader in this space. But what actually took you here in the first place?
It's very funny because I was not born a tech guy, just to be honest. I was really humanistic as for background and everything. I also have a master of design and photography. Think about it, something like this. But at the end, when I was growing in my career, I will start to be exposed to the transformations that technology comes. And then I start, well, I want to be part of this. I was studying photography when the digital photography comes. And then I start, oh, wait, there's something going on here. We are going from the
Hmm.
analogical to the digital. And then I start to be exposed to the background of that things. And then I start to build my journey as an employee. And then I say, well, I want to be part of this I want to lead this thing. I just want to be a consumer because then I can bring my views and we can enable other things for that. And this has happened from the last 20 years until today. I really want to bring forward technology as more into the hands of more people as possible.
And is that background in sort of design? So you clearly have a good eye. You know what the aesthetics and the composition, the sorts of things you must have mastered earlier on in your career. Do you bring that to bear when you're doing your analytics work?
It's really necessary in a corporate environment where I am today. People are not only interested on the raw numbers, people are not only interested on the hard part of that analytics. Let's say digest numbers, everything. You need to explain. You need to put some storytelling behind of the numbers. You need to showcase them in a way that they are not scared by. They are not, let's say, disturbed by the cruel and cold truth behind the numbers. So having a real eye for design, it's important when you are building. Also, when my team is building AI solutions that for the everyday task that my people have, we need to have UX discussions, very important UX discussion, because one thing is to solve the problem with AI. One other thing is having people using that solution. That's why I love that solution that OpenAI put in our hands so far, because it's a very powerful model, large language model, GPT thing. But if the user experience was not there, nobody will talk. Then maybe 10 people will talk about this so far. But what's really changed the game is the user experience. In user experience, it's really rely on design, on how people would like to interact with that solution, etc. So I'm really happy that I have that background that I can use today in things that technically are not really directly connected to those. If you are a photographer, maybe it doesn't really looks directly connected to your leadership in AI, but it is, because AI is multidimensional. AI in companies like us is not one technology. It's not a calculator. It's a multi-dimension. It requires a lot of skills and cross collaboration.
I had a similar path as an aside because I was a television producer for a long time before I moved into data and AI.
So that background really, whatever you learned in the past, whatever you did, you carry with you. So what's happened? You can apply this in the things that you are doing today. So I love the journey. Let's say like this.
I was going to say that the AI sort of capability got implemented into photography equipment quite early, didn't it? I think it was because of the digitalization of cameras, which happened. There's the famous story about, was it Kodak invented the digital camera and then suppressed it because it would ruin their business model essentially, and then obviously we all know what happened after that. So can I ask you, Jair, about your I know you spent time at IBM, which was a particularly important part of your career, which I think shaped a lot of your journey. So can I just ask you very specifically, how did your experience at IBM shape your perspective on AI and cloud technologies?
I always say that I'm an IBMer. Once an IBMer, you always be an IBMer. I entered in IBM as a pure technician. My role there was really technical. But when you are inside a company like IBM, that's where learning opportunities and challenges are endless, happened that I discover artificial intelligence almost by accident. It was not accident because IBM was a top leader of AI with our IBM Watson at that time. So was the exposition was natural there. But I make this transition from the technical perspective only to a leadership on AI in IBM. Before I become a leader in AI, I become a leader in AI in my mindset. So, and that's IBM allow me to be, because that's what I did. I was working several in the separate departments, but leading AI projects in other ones. So IBM allowed me to think as an AI leader in that one. And being exposed to the structure environment of AI allowed me also to learn how to apply those things in a corporate environment, because that was a great game change for me. Okay, AI, there's a AI for consumers, but AI for companies. And what I want to be in the AI for companies, because the scale of things and the impact I can do are really, really bigger so far for myself. So that's why I changed my completely role to go all in artificial intelligence for companies.
Yeah, that's a little bit like the allegory of IBM itself. The IBM story is extraordinary. The fact that it's reinvented itself so many times, and it has managed more than many other companies globally to stay relevant and to ride the crest of the wave between software and hardware.
And when you are there inside, you learn to reinvent yourself. That was one of the biggest thank you I say to IBM for the years I've been there. They allow me to reinvent myself internally to the company. And then I did the rest. But of course, if someone really helped you, that's you must say thank you forever on that one.
I love this the marketing strap line that they sort of pushed out in the 80s and 90s, which was nobody ever got fired for buying IBM, which was so nobody that was so successful in the B2B world, wasn't it?
I saw a recent study, and when IBM comes out with a study, you trust the numbers, and they have predicted that on an annual basis, in America alone, in the United States alone, $3.1 trillion is being lost per year due to poor data quality. And when IBM says that, I mean, that's an astonishing number. You do believe it, and you think the opportunity is there, isn't it?
And data quality, it's the critical foundational conversation we need to have with everyone before talk about AI. Because data quality in companies like mine and every other enterprise, it's a challenge. And to reach the value that we want from AI, first we need to make our homework on data quality everywhere. Not only my company, every large company that I know are struggling on this. And I totally agree that IBM really point the finger to data quality. And when IBM does on this one, we should hear. I'm really happy to share this kind of reports with everyone, because we need to make our homework in data.
Yeah. That's a really good point, actually. So can I ask you on that one? What's the biggest mistake you see businesses make in terms of their data then, Jair?
That's real complex question, because we saw a lot of mistakes on this across the journey. The fact that I see also some leaders waiting for the perfect data. Can be a risky mistake, because you will never have the perfect data across your whole domains or the whole company. But there are domains that are more mature than others, and when it comes to quality, that you should focus with artificial intelligence. So if your a certain domain like marketing are more advanced on data collection and curation of everything their data is fed, it's better start with AI that win some fights with there, and then show to the rest of the company, okay, that's the roadmap, but what market did to arrive on this quick win here? They work a lot of data, they enhance their quality, everything else. So now what's the next domain? Let's start to work on that, because there's no perfect data across the company, because even data that can be absolutely crappy for marketing can be absolutely perfect for HR or for security or something, because it's really contextual. So I see so many people waiting for the perfect occasion to start with AI, and that would take years and years and never come.
That's such a great point. Not just about waiting for the perfection of the data, but thinking about how can you use the same data sets for different applications, and having that level of creativity within enterprise is where you help unlock your savings.
Because of course your reusability, it's very important for save cost saving and speed, etc. So if you build a good data product in a certain areas, push to reutilize this as more as possible across the company, so you don't need to reinvent the wheel, redo everything, etc. So that data domain or data product, it's good. Let's spend time and money on getting people using this. Then the AI solutions will be put on top of that data, and then the value will come out from that one. And then you go to the next.
Yeah, absolutely. I really wanted to ask you, Jair, quite recently, which was quite, well into your career, you decided to go to MIT and do and further your education. Can you talk us through that, why you decided to do that and what you learned from that experience?
It was a moment that in my mind and for mind of many people, data science was the sexiest job in the world. So it's okay. If it's let's check it out, this, and then I can confirm that it's really close to that. So it means that it's important to have the right background when you want to really work with advanced technology. So that was for me the right thing to do in that moment, and I'm really happy about this. I get a extensive background of data science and analysis that help me today, even when I'm not really hands-on today, but I understand when my data science talk and everything else about the complex job that we have to do in our everyday activities as a team. So, and of course, building the network, it was very important also. A big network with leaders and peers in the area was very important. And so it was a great trampoline to tackle further challenges in the data science and areas.
As a leader, did you find that having that deep learning gave you a greater sense of confidence to help your teams decide what not to do as well as what to do?
Yeah, I would say that, greatest level of confidence are always challenged in my job every day, because every day we meet some challenge, some business issues that really challenge my confidence so far. But it's allowed me also to know what I don't know. That's the one of the most important things that I take when I enter to the room to discuss problems, are the things that I'm not aware of or I don't know. So I know what I know. I know there are a lot of things that I don't know, and I try to work on the things that I don't know. But if you don't have this awareness, you get in the confusion of I know everything. That's a very risky challenge. Or I don't know nothing. That it's really not a good also position to be. So I'm really believe on continuous learning. What I learned for years, it's very useful, but it's sometimes not applicable today. So I need to continue to learn. I never stop. So that things was a trampoline, but I'm still jumping in many, many other areas. Today, for example, in the last month, I saw myself coding again. I was born as a developer, as a coder. Today, I'm coding. I'm coding more used to using generative AI. I'm coding more and faster than when I was really get paid to code so far some years ago, because the technology it's helped me a lot.
And can I pick up, because you going back to coding is super exciting, because it also just keeps you feeling like you're kind of really stuck in, and you're also experimenting with the new tools as they emerge.
Yeah.
But back to your point about the democratization of AI and generative AI and the power of that. What's your point of view about code and no code and low code models?
I think this is super important. I think that even people that don't have I put myself in the condition to think, what if people that don't have all the background I have as a coder developer working for companies doing this, they can do what I'm doing here? Normally, my answer, yes, they can. I try to play with my daughters. They are starting to build things. But also, sometimes I think, what if a guy in Africa is starting her journey today and have access to this kind of tools that could help him to develop the next application that the world will use so far? Without all the tools that we have would be really hard. But today, that if we democratize this kind of AI for all the world, that's really philosophical, but I think we should go there. That's ideas and opportunities will come in many, many, many ways. So that's why I love initiatives like the Khan Academy that is trying to really bring the AI to in this perspective. I love also initiatives that are happening today to bring code to girls around the world and make them develop their ideas with AI, using AI, and develop together with AI. So democratize this. I think it's our responsibility if we are leaders on these areas so far.
Beautifully put.
Absolutely. No, that's really good. This episode is part of the Tech Leaders Podcast AI Series 2.0, brought to you by bedigital. At bedigital, we empower leadership teams to maximize value from their technology investments. Our data and AI services help businesses fully embrace the potential of artificial intelligence. We prepare your data, we streamline your processes, and ensure robust governance so that AI works effortlessly to drive real results. Curious to learn more? Visit bedigitaluk.com or follow us on social media to discover how AI can transform your business. Can we talk about your current role then, Jair? You're obviously the analytics leader within Volvo. Would you be able to maybe give us what is the purpose of your role? What is the main objective of your role?
Yeah, I was not in the Volvo trucks part of the company when I saw this job. When I saw the job description, I was thinking it was written for me. So I immediately applied for that. Okay, I want that job because this is exactly what I want to do in my career. It's really fascinating. How can I have an opportunity to lead a team of innovation with artificial intelligence? It's a team dedicated to experiment, to catch the ideas across the company, prioritize them, that it's really important in a company like us to really choose the best one based on feasibility or business value or whatever. We have our criterias, and then we prioritize them, experiment them, develop them, then make them grow, these ideas. And when we see that these are the best ones, we have process to make them go from our hands and go to the other levels of the company. So when I saw this, okay, this is where I want to be because it's a great company, of course, the Volvo Group, and they have resources to make these things happen. And if I can put my enthusiasm and my passion and my energy on that, I'm really sure that we're going to try to do a lot of great things together. And it's happening. I'm really happy about how things are going. Now, in the meantime, I joined this role 2 years ago. In the meantime, it's evolved. Now we are getting a bigger scope as a team. We are having a bigger scope as a AI and analytics division. And I hope that, and I really think that the best is yet to come.
And do you feel, I mean, culturally speaking, the Volvo Group, do they have that courage to back innovation, to really, because when you're coming up with your new ideas and you're doing your pilots, sometimes it can be hard to see exactly what the value realization will be at the early stage. So culturally, do they have that kind of bravery?
I would say that first of all, the Volvo Group, it's really a traditional certain environment from the enterprise perspective. From the risk perspective, we always prioritize safe in everything, safe in the vehicles, but safe in even the most simple application that we deploy. Safe come first. So this make the mechanism sometimes that can looks complex and sometimes looks slow, but when you really look in how people are working together to put things, I'm really excited how the innovative mindset. You can see this outside from the products that we have. If you see the vehicles that we did and the technology is there, you can touch with your hand, so you know that it's innovative. I see the everyday work way of working that we have, and having even the sign that we have as a team dedicated for innovation, it's a good sign, because that's the best companies in the world has this approach. Let's nurture, let's feed innovation with our culture. And when I go to talk with people about culture and innovation, the open doors are amazing. So it means that the culture is here. It doesn't mean that it's easy. Doesn't mean that we don't have resistance, because there are also other in 100,000 employees, statistically you're going to find resistance for any change you're going to do, but the culture, it's really good here from the perspective of leadership. We have great leaders. I always like to say that I have the best managers that I have in my career here in the Volvo Group in Sweden, and also
Wow.
top leaders that inspire me. So the people that I work are super helpful, and managers that really are want to see things getting done. And I have, when I look up, I see great leaders inspiring me. Of course, in the everyday, we have bad days, good days. I have bad Mondays too. Don't think that I don't have. I have it. But when I need this culture to back up my work, I always find. And then when I find the resistance, I hope to have my smile to help. It helps a lot. And the expertise that I accumulate along the years also help to find resistance and change and manage change, because AI, it's really connected to change management.
I think your enthusiasm and your smile are definitely good weapons to certainly for conflict resolution, Jay, for sure. I'm sure that's
At least things don't escalate, at least when you
yeah.
smile.
Could I ask you? I'm really keen to understand. Actually, Volvo, a very traditional manufacturing company, been going for nearly 100 years. How would you describe the culture there, and especially how does it differ to somewhere like IBM, like an American consultancy firm like IBM?
Yeah, we should start from that. What is the different culture, Swedish culture and American culture of way of work? We should, we probably need a new episode of your podcast for just to
Yeah.
talk about this,
Yeah.
because it's a long story. But anyway, if you compare both companies, both are performing well. Both are really giving revenues for shareholders, everything. So going out for how performance, we are performing very well. How we do it, it's completely different. The pressure is different. The way of the life balance, it's completely different from the American and from the Swedish way of work. The way you take decisions, sometimes top down in the American way. In Swedish way, it's more consensus. You have a lot of discussions to make the decisions. Sometimes the decisions take more time, just to be honest, take more time, because you need to have see hear and a lot of perspectives. But normally at the end, when you take a decision, you take the right decision, and everybody goes full in on this one here in Sweden. Of course, in other cultures, not only the America, you have a more the strong leader that decide, and then sometimes communicate, sometimes not, and but the decision is that. Here we
Yeah.
have a real consensus. Personally, my
Okay.
background love this. area here, this of decisions, because I like to talk with people. I like to understand their point of view, and then we take a common decision. It takes more time. It's taking more effort. Sometimes you don't really decide what you have to do today, but you're going to decide next week because you need to think. But at the end, we make decisions, and hopefully they are the right ones. I'm really enjoying this way of work in Sweden, to be honest. It's really completely different than all the ones I have from Brazil, Italy, and Poland. The decision chain, it's completely different. But Sweden is doing very well. Thank you. So I think it works somehow.
I think also the consensus approach is interesting across different industries, even in America. I think, for example, Pixar, they have a brains trust approach to the way they create their movies. And that is very, very consensual. So they will have an initial group of people putting together the kind of the writing room, the initial storylines. And then they have a fantastic culture where everybody is there in order to make the movie as funny as it can possibly be, as relevant as it can possibly be, and as wonderful as it can possibly be. And they all come together and they have these conversations around, I don't really buy that character would say that. Or so it's sort of, I think there's a little bit of dependent on the sector and the industry as well.
Definitely, especially the creative sector should not be different than that. No, we need to put people together to think and to discuss. In the IT industry, that chain of command can manifest itself in a more stronger mode. But I would say that I would prefer to stay in this side of the story.
No, I quite agree with you. I think consensus, making time to listen to other people's points of view, you get a greater diversity of thought, and ultimately you get a better outcome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think in autocracy you get the opinions more of one or two people, don't you? The meritocracy or something which is a little bit more democratic, I think you tend to get the opinion of many people, and I think it's definitely better for innovation, surely, and that's why I asked that question, is because I think that Volvo is obviously a traditional manufacturing company. I'm just wondering how AI is going to proliferate through the organization, because it's not just the product side of the organization, is it? There's internal operations, and many AI can manifest itself in many ways through the organization. But if I could focus on the product side, because I understand you guys have recently invested in a trucking startup, yeah, and I know you've been involved in this, Jair. I've heard you talk before at length about an AI truck, like an autonomous vehicle. Can you tell us a little bit about that and the reasons behind this acquisition, and what value Volvo and Volvo customers will get from this innovation?
Yeah, I would say that my main background from the transportation industry was really focused on autonomous vehicles, in technology, etc. Today, I'm more not on the product areas, but more on the operational, sales, commerce, e-commerce, and the marketing areas. So on Volvo Trucks. So I'm a little bit far from that today. But on the group level, autonomous truck, it's becoming a reality for Volvo Group. I was really a champion of this technology some years ago. And today we are acquiring companies, we are doing great partnerships. We have even a business division called Volvo Autonomous Service that it's really specific for autonomous vehicles, mainly in North America so far. Though, so this technology, absolutely AI driven technology, it's really strong for the future of the company. But if you think broadly, even the industry is set to be transformed by autonomous vehicles so far. In a certain point, even in Europe, if you go to other regions, North America and China, the autonomous vehicles are really hitting the road so far. In Europe, we're going to have some still years of to see that things happen so far because of regulations and many other aspects. Our approach in Europe is completely different, but the technology, it's really mature at this as so far today. And if this technology hits the roads as it looks like it's going to be, it's going to transform the whole industry. Today, our vehicles impact billions of people today on deliver whatever you want. Your breakfast probably were delivered by a Volvo truck so far today. There's a big possibility that was. If we have also automation of deliveries, automation of fleets, automation of the last mile deliveries, our impact will be really bigger and bigger and bigger across it. What's other advantages of automation for vehicles and transportation? Sustainability, and we also could be enhanced by this. And also, I believe that if we do it well from the technology perspective, we're going to increase 100% safety overall from the transport perspective. So this is what we believe so far. So there's a lot of things going on in the industry driven by AI.
Do you have any predictions that you could share on the relationship between autonomous vehicles and the Internet of Things and smart cities? How do you see that playing out?
Well, I would not even say a prediction, but I have an opinion that we need to do this together. I mean, how we plan the cities, how we integrate this technology in the cities, how we design our vehicles. Because think about the future of autonomous vehicle, it's without a wheel, driving wheel. Why we need a driving wheel if it's a completely fully autonomous vehicle? So even the design of the vehicles will change considerably. And then we need also to understand what the impact of this on our people. Today when you see a driver behind the wheel, you trust. If tomorrow you don't see the driver behind the wheel, what's your reaction on that? Even Waymo today, they still have wheels, and you can get the taxi, a robot taxi there so far, and everything. So the human aspects of this are really important on this change. So it's not that the companies only develop that. My personal opinion here, it's not a responsibility only companies to develop this technology. It must to be a real ecosystem of transportation with between the cities, the infrastructure, the providers, and everyone else. That's when this technology will be impacted. But we should not also forget that transportation, it's a real machine to human people. So people must be in the loop forever on this, even if they are not driving, but they are surrounded. We are surrounded by people. So the change management must take in consideration also the people aspects of autonomy.
So one thing that will inevitably come from autonomous driving and other AI innovation for sure, but especially autonomous driving, will be jobs displacement. So I'm just keen to get your thoughts. There's a lot of cynical views on this topic, and there's a lot of positive views as well, because I think with any technology innovation, new jobs get created. But I'm just wanted to get your thoughts on how you think AI will affect the jobs market in the automotive and driving services industries, and what new skills will be crucial for future professionals in these fields.
That's a real deep discussion that it's ongoing. I start to discover autonomous vehicles maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And this question, it's really to be answered so far. The numbers I have, the information that I have in my perspective is yes, if you really look on how the transportation is organized today, we in many countries you don't have all the drivers you need today to really deliver everything because the society consumption society is really demanding. So to be honest, personally, I'm not talking for my company, I'm talking about my personal leadership in artificial intelligence. There are areas that we need more drivers than AI will take their job. So what happened? Those human drivers will continue to deliver things in areas where AI will not be applied for many, many, many years, which means that the goal is to have autonomous vehicles plus human-driven vehicles, and this hybrid mode will generate opportunities. In the long term, we all be dead. That's true. In the long term, what means? The long term for people that drive horses some years ago was the cars. The long term for the taxi driver were Uber. So what's going on in the long term for Uber? It's maybe autonomous taxis like it we see so far. It's really
Yeah,
hard to see, but these changes takes a lot of years to be done. And what we can do so far is reskilling, upskilling of everything else because new skills are required, as you said. So it's required from the service perspective. So today maybe you're not gonna be. I'm really generalizing because we are talking about things that's gonna hit us in 5, 10 years. So I can have plenty of time to correct myself what I'm saying here. But if you imagine a future where all the vehicles will be autonomous, for a consumer it can be a paradise because you don't stress yourself in the traffic, but for the driver that works as a driver, maybe in 10 years, we need to understand what are the new skills, right? So we need to have
sure.
programs to train these people. So far, maybe they will work on service for autonomous vehicles. That's some areas we still need that even we don't know today. Maybe they will use their skills. They will sell their skills to companies that train those vehicles so far. Just hypothesizing that how you never throw the skills away in the garbage. You need to build process and systems that reuse those skills so far. And in other areas, there will be remaining areas where AI will not cover. And that humans will also be there. I'm not talking about the boring thing that take a container to A to B. That will be AI. But what about take this container from Poland to north of Iceland, considering all the challenges in the way, consider all the different regulations that we could have put in place. So it's better to really have humans driving, making this, than really wait for 20 years to find agreements and governments on regulation between you leave German and you pass to Poland, you need other regulation. So there are things in the long term we don't have to worry so much because humans will really be the best option so far.
Can we go back to some of the ethical considerations that you talked about at the very start, our responsibility as leaders in the tech world? What kind of ethical implications do you think there might be when you're thinking about crossing borders and trade? Because clearly at the moment, everybody works on slightly different lines and slightly different standards.
Yeah, it's really complex if you think, I'm coming from Brazil that for you to leave a regulation, also in Brazil, you can travel 1,000 kilometers in the same country. So it's the same regulation. When you come here in Europe, you do 200 kilometers, you already cross two borders. So
Yes.
this can be really complex from the regulation perspective. And if you fully automate a vehicle, you need to take in consideration this. But not only the regulation, what about the salaries? What about what people think about this in that specific country? What about the political appetite for automation on that specific country that you are changing, crossing, etc.? What about the tariffs, the cost for everything? So there are many areas we need to put in place. And from the ethical perspective, I see every time I implement a solution AI, I ask myself, okay, we can do it, but should we do it? In certain case, should we do what we are doing with AI? Should this is the right way to solve the problem? This is enhancing the overall quality of life of everyone that is impacted on this. So this kind of questions we need to put every time we implement artificial intelligence today and in the future. In fully autonomous vehicles or fully automation or whatever we do, this is super important to make the question before you automate. Once you fully automate, maybe it's too a little too late. But there are many ethical questions we need to put every time when you are putting AI. In this topic, it's really complex.
You studied this exact topic at MIT, Jair, didn't you? So you're pretty well qualified to to pass comments on this, on philosophy and ethics within AI innovation.
It doesn't mean that it's easy, eh?
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I don't think anyone's got the answers right now, have they? But do you have any examples of sort of problems that we've tried to solve with AI or technology innovation, but have just turned out that we can't improve this system or this process or this concept? The old way is the best way type thing.
Yeah. That's a constant battle in my life, in my job. Is AI the really thing that we should put here? Because think about, I interact with colleagues that are doing their things for the last 20 years and they're doing very well. So why they should completely change the things they are doing for AI? My justification on that it's for performance improvement and also to allow them to doing better. But to allow them to doing better, that AI must to be better than them. And then the challenge of this is in my company, etc. Whatever you do with AI depend of the data you have. Whatever outcome you expect from that depend of the data you have. Sometimes people are doing things greatly, but not only because they have the data, because they have the super expertise on that specific tasks, that it's really hard to code this in an AI perspective and use the data, the same data they are using to automate that thing with AI. So the challenge to deliver AI better than you, Gareth, it's really big because it's not only what you are this conversation is the data, but you are putting here your expertise to lead this conversation, your expertise in all the previous episode that you did here. For us to automate Garrett podcast here, it's really challenge to make better than what you are doing because you are the human here in code and make better than humans sometimes in complex tasks. It's still a lot. We can build a calculator, a better calculator than human. It's easy to do because you're going to do 1 + 1, it's 2. That's a real simple question to answer. But in our company, we have very complex how you can predict the sales of all the 180 markets that we have in our Volvo group using only data, because there are many factors you need to take in consideration in every marketing, in every model we want to predict the next sales, or sometimes a lot of external factors that you need. But we have people, humans, doing these predictions with their expertise. So how they do it that? They know how to do it. They are doing for many years and very precise forecast. But we are trying to do this with artificial intelligence with a higher precision than them. So the challenge is really big on these areas.
With the magic that a human being can bring, that human intelligence, it also helps with the diversity point that we talked about earlier, I think, because, sometimes if you're just using data sets and using artificial intelligence, you can risk making outputs rather bland and vanilla. And actually, sometimes the magic of a human being being able to think differently and join dots in ways that aren't necessarily intuitive. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's really important that we as human beings think about what are the problems we are trying to solve. And once we've identified that, can technology play a role in making the answer faster, quicker, better? And if it can't, that's okay.
That's okay. So then the human there, it's continued to be the best option so far. It's really challenge for people like me, so enthusiastic, and that I'm very contagious sometimes, to focus on this. Okay, technology is super cool, but this kind of things are being doing better by humans in this specific area. So let's try to just help them to get better data instead of automate what they are doing. This is already a contribution that leaders can have. Sometimes it's not to replace the technology with people with technology. Sometimes it's just to give them better data, and then they make their human decisions and their mirror experience with that. So sometimes we make a step back and say, okay, you just need better data.
Kerensa and I'm sure you remember this one, Kerensa, last year we interviewed a gentleman from OpenAI called Roger Verhoeven. And Roger was a brilliant guest. And I always remember, Kerensa, his kind of strap line, his headline, "You will not be replaced by AI. You will be replaced by somebody potentially using AI or supplementing with AI," which I think is spot on, isn't it? It's the mathematician all of a sudden having a calculator that just makes you infinitely quicker, more efficient. Doesn't necessarily replace you, though. That's
exactly. So, that's
yeah.
why we need to communicate better when we talk about AI in companies, but also outside, because if responsible companies using responsibly AI think this, okay, I need to enable my people to use AI so they are more effective so far. So it's not replace people with AI so I don't have people in my payroll. It's exactly the opposite. Keep these people because they will keep your company more competitive and effective, but enable them to be better.
Yes.
So I've noticed you've started a blog on Medium, Jair. It's become very popular, and it seems you enjoy it because you seem quite consistent. Tell us about why you set that up and what you've learned from that experience.
Yeah, my justification for my wife is that I have a lot of things to say. And she totally agree that she knows that I could not really keep all the things with myself. So, it's really matter of democratization. My goal, more people know about these things, more people, and also I like to use very affordable language in every thing that I explain when it comes to artificial intelligence. So my blog, it's really to explain basic concepts, reach people that are not really in the technology but wants to understand these things, and also to help leaders to lead better with AI, because that's the big challenge for leaders so far. Understand AI and help them to lead with AI, because guys, the things are changing so fast that even our leaders are struggling sometimes to really, what's going on here? 3 years ago, we didn't have generative AI knocking our doors so far. So in 3 years, our time that we need to make a lot of decisions as leaders. This is a technology, this is a hype, this is going to help us, this is going to disrupt everything. I will be replaced by a generative AI, large language models. So there are many questions. I try to answer this kind of daily questions with my blog.
So what advice would you give to technology leaders who want to stay up to date with this constant innovation then? What would a good leader do to make sure that they stay on top and stay ahead of the curve in terms of the innovation?
Well, apart to read my blog, that's a good advice I would give to anyone. But I'm learning that leaders should fight for clarity. I mean, it's essential. So try to focus on clarify things for the people that we work together, because there is a lot of noise so far. So I think people are been looking to our leaders to get some North Star on this one. So the first role of the leaders really try to give clarity on what's going on, because in the AI field perspective. You don't need to be top expert, but you should have the foundation knowledge to help other people to grow in this AI things, because this really matters so far. And then everything will become more manageable also if you are good on prioritizing the AI, because there are popping technology all the time. Changes are popping all the time. The good leaders are the good ones that prioritize what really truly matters for companies so far, even in this ocean of options that we have so far.
So could you give us a recommendation? We always ask our guests a book recommendation or a piece of content that you would. I noticed there's a reading list on your blog actually. So maybe you can give us the highlights of that. What books have shifted your perspective, and what would you recommend to the listeners?
Funny that you asked me. I have one here that's from, by the way, Harvard Business Review, that is called On Leadership. It's not exactly about AI, but it's really helping me to really think about how can I navigate this moment of really a lot of challenge from the leadership perspective. And these books here, there are a lot of articles from the Harvard Business Review that are really helping me in these moments to think as a leader in the AI. And then I transfer those knowledge in the things that I'm doing with artificial intelligence so far. So I'm really excited about this book here. It's on Leadership, Volume 2. This is the book that I bought in my last trip. I cannot stop reading. I'm almost finishing.
Where can people find you, and where can they find your blog and stuff, Roger?
Well, I think the best way to find me is on LinkedIn. I already have there so far more than 30,000 followers there that are we contact all. Really, I share my reflections. I share all everything that's been doing. Of course, from there you have links for my blog and everything. But it's really important to build a network across artificial intelligence. Leaders should connect with other leaders, get their discussions, and have because we have very common problems so far. It's really, we like to feel unique, guys, but we are more or less in the same boat so far. So more we connect, more we build this network, more we share our common problems, better we're going to build a better society with AI.
Very well said, and what a great way to finish. Kerensa, I don't know about you, but I've really enjoyed this conversation. It's been fantastic.
Oh, it's been absolutely wonderful. You really are a true proponent of continuous learning, always being a learner tool.
Thank you very much for the invitation. Really, really enjoyed the conversation, and have a nice day for you there.
That was great. I think he had this kind of like infectious smile.
Yes.
And is just clear, natural enthusiasm for this topic of AI. And you could just look at his LinkedIn profile. You can see he lives and breathes this stuff.
Yes.
Have a look at the amount of certifications he's done in the last couple of years. This is not someone who does this as a chore or as a job.
Yes.
This is someone who does this as a life choice. And that is just so obvious when you talk to him, Kerensa, isn't it?
That's right. For him, it's passion. And he's a natural born communicator, which I think really, really helps in the tech industry, because he's able to help people understand the journey that he's trying to take them on. And that's really critical because, I mean, AI has been around, as we've talked about before, and it's been around since the 1950s. This is not a new thing, although the birth of generative AI is new, and the way that's exploded in the last few years is huge. But he's got this knack of being able to talk in very relatable terms. And I particularly loved his focus on the democratization of technology and AI in particular.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, that's a good point, actually. I do sort of use the term AI and often sometimes mean generative AI. So it's something it's kind of interchangeable. This term AI has become this on-trend term, but it is something we probably need to drill into a bit and be more specific about what we're talking about. But yeah, I think... it's just fantastic how he brought all of the answers to his questions. He'd always end up in a really important point around ethics, around the sort of consequences of adoption and what we need to be mindful of to do this in a safe way. You know what I mean? It seems like AI innovation at Volvo is in good hands. He studied mind and machines at MIT, which is a philosophy and ethics course. It feels that this is central to everything he works on, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And the very fact that he was born in Brazil, left there when he was 22, has lived and worked for many years in Italy and in Poland before coming back again to Sweden. This is somebody who really loves people. And he loves the different cultures, and he's a very consensual, very collaborative kind of guy. And the fact that he listens as well as shares his wisdom, I think, is really powerful, because he's got a humility about him which belies his expertise. And, as you say, the huge range of credentials he's built up over the years is astonishing.
Yeah. Fantastic. And Volvo are doing some incredible things. They've, as we alluded to, they've just purchased a trucking and AI systems company for the trucking and logistics industry. So they're active in this space. They're taking this stuff really seriously. I would expect they'd be pushing innovation in terms of autonomous vehicles and all the other manifestations of generative AI in the automotive industry, because it's not just about autonomous driving, is it? It's about lots of other things. So it's fantastic to speak to someone from such a forward-thinking, global household name brand like Volvo.
Yes, yeah.
And reassuring to understand, to hear that they're doing everything seemingly in the right way. No, I loved it. Great interview.
Well, I love this series. We are getting some fantastic guests for this AI series, and I'm really happy to be doing it with you.
Absolutely. And we've got more coming up soon. So please don't forget to subscribe and download the next episode of the Tech Leaders podcast. This series is going really well, Kerensa, isn't it? So I'm really looking forward to the next one. This episode was brought to you by bedigital. bedigital support leadership teams to optimize cost and get more out of technology investments. bedigital and the team have unrivaled expertise with technology license management and data remediation, and are therefore perfectly positioned to help prepare organizations for AI technology capability. And on the last point, bedigital have developed a cutting-edge AI readiness assessment, which provides tech leaders with a platform they need to make well-informed decisions about AI adoption strategy in 2024 and beyond. Go to bedigital UK to find out more and get in touch.